Welcome to the Secret Underground Laboratory Recovery and Salvage, where rude mechanicals do magic. Hello, I'm Bronze Age, Director of the Secret Underground Laboratory Recovery and Salvage. And today I've got these two stools on the BF bench. If we went back 120, 150 years, most American homes, any self-respecting American home, would have had a piano. This is before the days of radio, TV, any kind of electronic or electric entertainment. And the piano was often the center of the front room, the sitting room, the living room of the house. And it was expected that somebody in the family could play the piano. Now, every piano had to have a piano stool. And the thing that distinguished a piano stool from any other ordinary piece of furniture was the fact that the height was adjusted. Because you never knew how tall your piano player was going to be. And even though it's rare to find a piano at someone's house these days, the stools have survived. The adjusting mechanism is pretty simple. It's a big screw with this square profile thread known as an Acme thread, about 5 threads per inch, so that 5 turns gives you 1 full inch of adjustment in the height. Ooh, hate that sound. Now, piano stools were a piece of furniture, so they followed the styles of furniture just like anything else. This one with the turn legs has these iron ball and claw feet. The ball is actually part of the whole thing, and it's iron as well. I have seen ball and claw feet where there was actually a crystal ball about this big in the claw. You can expect not a lot of those survived. This one has only 3 legs with just iron legs screwed into the trunk. And this is the one we're working on today because the nut that holds the screw is missing. Fortunately, repair parts for piano stools are still available. And of course, this one is a little bit more robust than the old one, but it will still fit. With a little bit of modification, we'll be able to make this work just fine. It's easy to see that all the stress is going to be concentrated around the top up here, and as well, this is pretty well cracked. It's got multiple screw holes from where obviously the first time it came loose, someone tried to repair it. And so the first thing we've got to do is address all these cracks and these screw holes. Clamping something round like this is always difficult. So I've made a special clamp out of a piece of 2x stock. This probably used to be a 2x8 or something like that. But it's just a hole saw with a slot, another bigger hole, smaller hole down here to give it a little bit of stretch and flexibility. So a little bit of wax paper around this. And I just push this down, and I've got it forced back into its round shape, and it will also serve as a clamp when I put the glue on. I've got one crack here, and on the other side there's actually 2 cracks close together, so that's a plug trying to come out. And I'm going to be using slow set epoxy to fix these. And there's no real good way to get any kind of penetration down into a split in the wood like that. So what I'm going to do is drill down the crack on both sides like this. And I'm going to come back with this bamboo skewer and use it as a plug as well as a way to carry as much epoxy down the hole as possible. Just drive that down so it bottoms out. And just keep going around. And get this last one here. It's a little late in the afternoon in the lab, so this will set up a full 24 hours before I start working it. This is future Bron, because present Bron realized that he had gone over the construction of this jig a little too quickly. The Forstner bit needs to have the center point firmly set into the material you're drilling, or else it's going to wobble all around. And if you can't do that, then you've got to get your material clamped down as tightly and as rigidly as possible. Now for a piece this tall, just clamping the feet down to the table, not going to be sufficient. I started with a piece of yellow pine scrap, used a hole saw to cut out a 3-inch hole, cut a slot, and then a notch because there's a rack on the back side of the post for adjusting the table height, and it goes around like this. And this puts it in a good position to clamp this in with another piece of yellow pine, this time same 3-inch hole with a slot cut in it, but I put a 3/4 inch hole here, which gives it some spring. And we get it down like this. And then with the big C-clamps, once it's all down, tightened, and in position, this piece is not moving, even when this bit starts cutting on the outside edge of the hole. Now that's convenient because in addition to chopping off these bamboo pieces, I've got to re-drill this hole and try to get it on center. Now not only is this hole too small for this new nut, it's also off center. You can tell even by the naked eye. And trying to re-drill an off-center hole is one of the most difficult things you can try to do because there's no place to mark for where your drill bit's supposed to go. It's out there in space somewhere. But I was able to measure it pretty carefully and use that to cut out a little piece of cardboard. And I'll use the center mark in my cardboard to line up the drill bit and hope that all goes well. And of course the secret is getting everything clamped down so it can move when the drill bit hits the wood. I think that's going to do it. And the last step is just to put the screws in the holes here. Anytime you are putting screws into end grain, and especially a turning as thin as this one, you want to do pilot holes. So, this is Bronze Age for the Secret Underground Laboratory, Recovery and Salvage, and thank you for sticking through this video with me. Appreciate it if you would like and subscribe if you haven't already. And we'll be back next week with some other video. Thank you very much.